Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss how to set up Azure CI/CD. So for that purpose I have listed down all the steps that we are going to perform in this video. So for that purpose we will create Azure DevOps organization in Azure portal. After that we will get the clone URL from Azure repository and we will clone that in Visual Studio and we will create a project in .NET Core in Visual Studio. Once we create a project, we will check in that project to Azure repository and we will create a build pipeline to build that project. So once we build that project, we need to publish it, right? So where can we publish that? So for that purpose, we are going to create an Azure App Service and we are going to publish that project to Azure App Service. So we will create a release pipeline in Azure DevOps and we will publish that project to Azure App Service. And we will browse the app service URL and we will test whether our application is successfully browsed or not. After that, we will go to Visual Studio and we will modify our code. And after modifying our code, we will check in that to Azure repo. Once we check in that Azure repo, the CI/CD should trigger and it should build the project and it should publish to Azure App Service. So we will test that. So we are going to perform all these steps now. So let us start. First of all, we will browse the Azure portal. Let me open my browser, portal.azure.com. So here Azure DevOps organizations. So we need to click on that. This is the home page and here it will show this link, my DevOps organizations. Click on that link. It will show the list of organizations that we have created. If we have, I have already created a DevOps organizations with this name Azure DevOps practice. I have created this because if we create now, we will we have to request the Azure team for that parallel concurrency, that is request Azure parallel Azure parallelism request. So if we create then organization now, we need to request the Azure team for Azure DevOps parallelism request by providing our name, email address, and the organization URL. This is nothing but this is the organization I have created, right? Azure DevOps practice. So upon clicking that, we will get this URL. So we need to provide this URL to the Azure team, and we once we submit, it will take around 2 to 3 business days to resolve our request. Once they resolve our request, they will send us an email saying that our request has been completed. Then only we can create build pipeline and release pipelines, and we can do the CI/CD. So as it is going to take 2 to 3 business days, I have already created Azure DevOps organization. So this is the one. So let us click on that. And the second step, we are going to go to Azure repos. Here we will get the clone URL. Just copy that clone URL and open Visual Studio. In that we will clone it and we will create a project in Visual Studio. So let us click on clone a repository. So it browse the repository. So here from here we can go. If you click on this, it will show the account. We need to provide our details by logging in. Otherwise, we can also go clone from here. This repository location we need to provide here, and we can just click on clone. Okay, once we clone this URL, we will just go to file and we will create a new project. We are going to create a project in .NET Core. So let me click on this web API, ASP.NET Core web API. Let us check the repo name Azure DevOps practice. In this we have cloned it, right? So let me check. Let me select that folder. Here only we are going to create our new project, web app, Azure CI/CD, right? So this is the application name I am giving. So we are going to select this .NET Core 3.1 long-term support. Click on create. So the project has been created. If you go to Solution Explorer, this is the project. Okay, let us browse this and we will test if it is getting browsed successfully or not. It is getting built. This is a weather forecast API. So it is returning this data, which means our project has successfully built and browsed successfully. So let me close this. And the next step, we are going to check in this project to Azure repo. So here, just click on it and just provide a comment, my initial commit, and just click on commit all. So once we commit, it is going to commit to our local repository. So to get this committed to the Azure repository, we need to click this button push. So once we click on this button push, it is going to commit all this code to Azure repository in the Azure portal. So yeah, now you can see the message successfully pushed master to origin. So let us check by going to our Azure repository. So this is the repository, right? Now let me refresh. See, now the code has come here. Web app Azure CI/CD, the project which I have created. And after that, the next step we are going to create is the build pipeline. So for that, we need to go to this pipelines, click on pipelines, create pipeline. And where is our code? Our code exists in Azure repository, right? So for we will select this Azure repository, and our organization is Azure DevOps practice. So let us select our organization, and the code we have created is in ASP.NET Core, right? So we will select this one to configure the pipeline. Then it will automatically create that YAML file, and it will put all the code that required to build our project. So this is the all the code that we require to build our project. So let us click on save and run. Set up CI/CD with Azure pipelines. Let us give the commit message and description if you want any. Click on save and run. Just taking some time. Now we got some error. The path Azure parallel.xml specified an add operation already exists. Please specify new path. So let us check what the error it is. So again, well, let us go to pipelines. Click on create pipeline, your first pipeline, Azure repos, Azure DevOps practice. So this is the pipeline. Not now we are going to create. Right. Click on run. Yeah. Now this got queued up. Now it is going to build our project with this pipeline. you open it, it will show all the steps that it is going to perform. Downloading the task. So these are the steps that it is going to perform. Finishing job. Now the status is success. So we have created a pipeline, build pipeline that has built our project. Now we want to publish this project. So for publishing the project, we are going to create an app service in Azure and we are going to publish it to Azure App Service. So let me open Azure portal and let us create an Azure App Service. So click on App Services. So create App Service. And the resource group name, we are going to create new resource group with Azure CI CD. Azure CI CD. So after providing the group name, the application name, let us provide as Azure CI CD. It is checking. So this name is not available. It is saying, excuse me. So let us add 1, 2, 3. Now this is exists. So it has taken. The publish type is code. We are selecting runtime. So do you remember we have selected .NET Core 3.1 in Visual Studio while creating the project. So we need to select the same thing here. .NET Core 3.1 long-term support. And the region, let us leave the default operating system Windows. We are going to leave the default Windows, and all other properties we are going to leave. Okay, let us click on review and create. Okay, it is showing all the details that we have provided. Let us click on create. So it is initializing deployment and it is creating app service. Once this app service got created successfully, we will go to Azure DevOps and we will create a release pipeline. And with that release pipeline, we are going to deploy our code to this Azure App Service. So deployment is in progress. It is taking time. Let me pause the video for a while. Once the deployment is complete, I will again start the video. Now the deployment is completed. So let us go to Azure DevOps organizations. So here, let us go to releases. Now let us create a new release pipeline. Here, let me add an artifact here. It is asking to select a template. So we are going to select this Azure App Service deployment as we are deploying our code to the Azure App Service. So let us click on apply. And after that, here, let us click on add artifact, build. The project is Azure DevOps practice. The source is this Azure DevOps practice and the version latest. Click on add. And in the triggers, we want to, as it is disabled by default, we want to enable it so that every time we release a build, this will trigger and this is going to publish our code to the Azure App Service. And let us go to the stage here. Let us select stage 1. Okay, next job or task, right? So here stage 1, Azure subscription, we are going to select the Azure practice the subscription, and we need to authorize it. The service connection operation failed. Already user having administered role permissions on the service connection. Can see it. What is this Azure practice? So I have here my organization's home, subscriptions, right? This is the subscription 78A4. That only we have chosen, right? 78A4. Okay, let me click on refresh. 78A4. Let me select that. Yeah, now the error has gone. I don't know what happened. Now the error has gone. So app type is web app on Windows. App service name. So we have created app service, right? Azure CI CD 123. So there is the app service name. After providing all the details, let us click on save, and it is asking the folder and the comment. Let us leave the default values and click on OK. It has saved successfully. Now we are going to trigger this release so that our code should get published to Azure App Service. So deployment process. Again, go to releases. So here, where is our release pipeline we have created, right? This is Azure DevOps practice, that the build we have created previously. The release pipelines, we go to releases, create release. Yeah, we need to click on create release. The here we need to stages for a trigger change for automated manual. So let us click on that stage one. We have uh, create. You remember on the screen we have seen the stage one, right? So let us select the stage one. Oh, it has gone again. Yeah, stage one, and the description, release description we can provide. Click on create. Now it has triggered. So if you see not deployed, let us click on it. So click on deploy here. Let us provide a comment. Click on deploy. Now it is going to deploy our project to Azure App Service. Once our project gets deployed to Azure App Service, we will check the app service by browsing the app service URL. So initializing job. Oh, he got error. No package found with specified pattern. So this error, yeah, we can get rid of this error by adding one line of code in the YAML. That is, let us browse this. Let us Google it. There we can find some fix. Sorry, I'm sorry. Where is that? Yeah, here. Let me copy it. Let me Google it. So no package found with the specified pattern. So here we'll get a solution, right? So at the very end of the .yaml file, you need to add an additional line. So publish build artifact. So this line we need to add to our YAML file. Then we will get rid of that error. So let us copy that and let us go to our YAML file. YAML file we will get in pipelines. Here, click on it, click on edit. Yeah, let us add that line here. Okay, and save it. The comment, let us leave the default comment and click on save, and let us click on run again. Run. So this will again build our project. So it has queued up. It is building our project. Now if you see, the status has changed to running. Once this pipeline run is successful, we should see the status has succeeded. Now if you observe, the status is success and the duration, it has taken about 45 seconds to run this pipeline. Now let us go to releases and we will check whether it has triggered the release. So if you observe, we have created the trigger, we have enabled that automatic triggering. Like once the build is successful, this release pipeline will trigger automatically and it will uh, release our project to Azure App Service. So if you click on this stage, previously we got that error, right? So, and if you remember, we have manually clicked on deploy. Now as this is automated, we don't need to click on this deploy manually. So once we build the project, it is triggered and it is queued up. It is waiting in deployment queue. So let us click on that. It is taking time. Once this gets deployed to Azure App Service, we will go to Azure App Service and we will check by browsing that app service URL to check our project has been successfully deployed or not. So it is taking time. 1 minute 15 seconds. Let me pause my video. Oh yeah, I think queue for pipeline, automatic trigger. Yeah, now it is running in progress. Deployment started. It is also showing us time, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, right? If you let us go to our app service and check this one, right? Azure App Service. Let us browse portal.azure.com. App services. Let us check the status. It is showing as running. Succeeded. Deployment succeeded. So we have deployed our code successfully to Azure App Service. So let us check by browsing the app service. So this is the app service. Let us go here. And if you see the overview, we will get the URL. So this is the URL, right? So let us browse this, copy it and browse it if we are able to browse this successfully. In this URL, we have weather forecast controller, right? So we need to browse that controller. So if you see the controllers, weather forecast controller. So this controller we need to browse. This is the app service URL. To that URL, I'm adding that controller name. So it has not browsed successfully. Let us wait for some time because sometimes it may take time to get this deployed. Your app is connected to Azure App Insights resource Azure CI CD 123. Let us again try now. Whether I need to give, whether I need to give, I don't know whether we need to give this controller or not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry. We should not give that word controller. I have provided that word controller, so that's why we have not get the result. So this is the result. So which shows that our deployment is successfully deployed to Azure App Service. Now what we will do is we will again go to Visual Studio. We will modify our code and we will check in our code to Azure repository. So once we check in our code to Azure repository, the CI CD should trigger automatically and it should build our code and it should publish our code to Azure App Service. So let us test that. So let us go to Visual Studio and here in the weather forecast method, let me just delete this and just we will return a string result. Sorry, yeah, string result, and we'll say just a second, right? So here we will just remove this string and here we are going to say return code changed and testing through Azure CI/CD. So I have changed my code. So now I'm going to deploy this. I'm going to check in this code to Azure repository so that it will trigger the CI/CD and it should publish our code to Azure repository. Then we should see this change, right? Previously we are able to see this result. Now here in this result we should see that result, this string, right? So for that, let me check in this project to Azure repository, check in my change one, commit all, save. Now committed created locally. From locally we want to push it to Azure repo. Unable to push repository local branch behind, pull then push, output. Source control zip. So it is saying some error. We can replace git config with. We are not able to pull this code, push this code to Azure repository. It is showing some error. Hint: if only command line to override the configured repo per application. You have divergent branches that need to specify how to reconcile them. It is asking to use these commands: git pull, rebase, true, merge, fast forward only. So it is providing 3 hint commands to run to get rid of this error. So let us copy this hint command and we will run in our command prompt and we will check whether we are able to push our code to Azure repo by running this command. So let us go to our project folder, right click, open in terminal. Is it here? I think here. So we find .git, right? So here we need to open our terminal. Open terminal. Let us copy that command. Now it has executed successfully. Now let us try to push our change. push, pull then push. The pull operation failed. So again the pull operation is failed. So we'll try with this command rebase. You can replace git config with default. Let us Google it otherwise. Git pull -ff only. So let us run this command and we'll check whether our issue gets fixed or not. Git pull ff only. Not possible to fast forward a body. Git, oh, this one, git config. This is the global, so for all the repositories. Git config pull ff only. Git config pull ff true. Let us run this. Now it has run successfully. Now we will check whether we are able to push our code or not. First pull and then push. Now it has now it is fixed this issue. So pushing the current branch. So once the code is pushed, so now we have 0. So let us go to Azure repository and we will check whether our code is being pushed or not. So Azure repos. So here my check-in change 1. So it has come. Now it should trigger our CI/CD. So let us check our pipelines. So 30 seconds. So it is running. So the build pipeline is running successfully. Is running. Once this has completed its running, it will trigger the release pipeline and it will release our code to Azure App Service. So let us check that. So it is taking time. 33 seconds, 34 seconds. I'm sorry guys, this is a little bit boring. We are getting issues and we are again fixing the issues, so it is taking so much of time. Now it has completed. Now let us go to releases. So it is in stage 1. So it has started. Waiting for the request to be queued up. So in this way we can set up Azure CI/CD in Azure DevOps. This is running. So it is showing in progress. Once this is succeeded, we will test by browsing our URL. So once we browse this weather forecast, we should get our change. So this is the URL of the Azure App Service. So let us go and check. Yeah, succeeded. If you see, the stage is succeeded. So let us browse and test our weather forecast controller. I'm hitting enter. So it is browsing. See, if you see, the code changed and testing through CI/CD. Now the change we have done has come through CI/CD. So in this way, we can set up Azure CI/CD and we can implement. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.